retired ICE special agent, Victor Vila. Victor, so great to see you. First of all, what is your reaction to seeing these smuggling routes? How do they differ maybe from what's been done in the past?
Well, I'm very familiar with these smuggling routes as I used to work in Mexico and help enforce the alien smuggling that we call and human smuggling and human trafficking. And it really hasn't changed much, let me tell you. It's still the same country. As a matter of fact, it's been facilitated by some of these countries, just like Jorge's report pointed out, that some of these countries like Nicaragua and Ecuador have lifted their visa requirements, making it easier for these other migrants coming from African nations, China, to make it through there and straight into Mexico. I investigated and took down a lot of Afghan smuggling routes that come and end through Mexico, as well as Chinese nationals. But the big difference here, I want everybody to understand, is that there was enforcement by the U.S. government, something that we're not seeing happening right now. We talk about the gaps there at the end of the wall, but the reason why they're coming there is because they know that there's no restraint from the U.S. government. There's no holding them back.
So now, again, like all of these ICE agents and former ICE agents, they all keep saying the same thing. They literally all keep saying that there's no enforcement from the federal government. So now my question is, why is there so much silence around people asking the federal government to enforce the immigration laws? Why are there not more people asking that question? Do you guys think that that's something that people need to be saying? Biden is sitting up there talking about a bill being passed, and everybody else is saying we need the laws to be enforced. Now, here's a question for you guys. What does the bill being passed have to do with whether the laws are enforced or not? Is enforcement of the border policies contingent on any of those bills being passed, or do they need to just enforce the laws? Let me know what you guys think.
And so that's why they continue to do that flagrantly.
You know, and Victor, how does the U.S. stay on top of this when we know that the methods are constantly evolving, sometimes becoming more covert? But as we just saw there, I mean, it's pretty overt. It's right there in the open.
And that's a great point because, by the way, we still have the smuggling, the covert operations of thousands of people that want to come into the country completely undetected. But to your point, it's very obvious they're not covering anything up here. They're literally walking into our border because of the lack of enforcement, and that's what I think we need to go back to. Now, Mexico is trying to do something here, and this has to do with the deal that the Biden administration made with the Mexican government. They never revealed that secret deal that they made. They never made it public to the American people, but we can see with our eyes what is happening, the reduction of people coming to the border.
Now, here goes my question. That Democratic lawmaker from Utah that was saying that this is all misinformation. Here's the real question, right? If this all is indeed misinformation, then why is the Mexico government setting up military installations in order to try to stop illegal immigration? Why is the Mexican government doing anything if this is all misinformation? Somebody make that make sense. Does that make any sense? And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming to check this out and tune in. We got 62 people watching and we got 93 likes. We need 7 likes to get to that 100. If everybody can bang on that like button. If you guys have not shared the stream to your social media, make sure you guys take a moment, share the stream to your social media. Also, make sure that you guys follow me on my social media. That'd be great.
But I'm afraid that it might be politically motivated, both on the Mexican side and the U.S. side, as both countries are looking at election cycles this year.
Yeah, and politics, so many times plays into so many things. Does the U.S. need to ask?
So now, if this is misinformation, right? If this is misinformation, then we got to ask the question, Why is it that the sides that want to improve how they're looked at are taking more aggressive action on dealing with the border? Now what we see is the Democrats, the liberals, left-leaning sides, those sides are moving towards more aggressive border action. If this is misinformation, why are the Democrats acting on misinformation for the sake of trying to get votes? Does that make any sense? Make that make sense.
Or demand more from Mexico when it comes to trying to stop the flow?
Absolutely. Listen, we need to go back to, as a matter of fact, it's kind of backwards right now. Mexico is demanding of us, paying them money, lifting restrictions from Venezuela and Cuba. But that's not the way it should work. It should be the United States demanding Mexico to do more on their part. Remember, most of the people coming through Mexico are illegally present in Mexico as well. And I don't see the deportations happening from that side. And so definitely the United States has to continue to put the pressure on the Mexican government to help them do their part. This is a team effort here, but I'm not seeing the other team help us end up helping both countries in the long run.
Before we let you go, Victor, I mean, do you think possibly changing the rules when it comes to residing and working in the U.S. legally will help? Do asylum laws need to change?
Actually, I tell you, I know the asylum criteria very well. It just needs to actually be followed. And that's the problem that we're in right now, is that the interpretation of the asylum criteria that, by the way, the United States government created is not being followed. We know that 9 out of 10 people coming into the country do not qualify for asylum, yet we allow them in.
Did you hear what he just said? 9 out of 10 people that come into the country asking for asylum do not qualify for asylum. Why are they being allowed in? Why are they not being turned away at the gate? Did you guys hear that? 9 out of 10 people that attempt to enter the United States for asylum do not qualify. 9 out of 10. That's 90%.
Actually be followed. And that's the problem that we're in right now, is that the interpretation of the asylum criteria that, by the way, the United States government created is not being followed. We know that 9 out of 10 people coming into the country do not qualify for asylum, yet we allow them in and they roam around in our country. We might never be able to see them again. And the ones that do might end up showing up to a court date 5, 7, 10 years from now. And that's not the way the asylum system is supposed to work. We need to be able to investigate these credible fear cases, if in fact they even qualify for that credible fear status. But we must do it while they remain in Mexico, not while they're already allowed in the U.S., because we've seen the problems that it's causing, not just in Texas where I'm at, but in the entire country. North Carolina, look at what's happening in Denver. Just got back from Baltimore. It's happening everywhere in our country. And now U.S. citizens from across the country.
Let me ask you guys this. If this happens in all of the major cities in the United States, how is that going to work? How is that going to work for the United States with this going on in every major city? Shout out to Carlton Waste. Carlton said he's snitching. Facts. Shout out to Michael R. What's good with it, bro? If you guys agree with Carlton that homeboy here is snitching, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Country are demanding, and they're saying, listen, you got to do something because it's really hurting our communities locally at this point.
Yeah, certainly. Communities really being strained. Former ICE Special Agent Victor Avila, thank you so much for your time.
All right, so there's that.